Hey, welcome to Threadhead TV. This is Jude Bell, and today we will be tackling the Arrow of Light Award for that Cub Scout in your life. I love this so much more than the idea of a wooden plaque because it includes all their patches and pins and everything they've earned over the years, all there on one award. Step 1. Trace or print the Arrow of Light symbol. I found mine from an online picture. I'm folding in half here and cutting to make sure that it is perfectly symmetrical. Step 2. Lay out your badges to get a general idea of how you would like yours to look. There are lots of photo ideas online that helped me out. And the great thing about the Arrow of Light Award is that you can actually use some artistic freedom and do whatever you want. There is no set way to do this thing. I wanted a shield shape to my pattern, but I didn't need it too large because my son missed out on the first 2 years of Cub Scouts and didn't have a ton of award patches as a result. If your Cub Scout has a lot of patches, you can elongate your pattern accordingly. I folded my felt in half and cut 2 layers because I used a thinner grade felt. My fold is at the top in order to make loops out of my tabs. If you are using a thicker felt, which I do recommend because then you only have to cut 1 layer, make sure your top tabs are longer so that you have enough length to fold them down and sew loops. If using a double layer of felt, sew all the way around the perimeter of your shield. I used a Greek key stitch on my machine. If you don't have decorative stitches on your machine, a zigzag stitch will work just as well. Iron a rectangle of steam seam on the back of yellow cotton fabric and then trace your arrow of light facing the opposite way that you want it to look in the end. So see how my arrow on the back is pointing to the left because on my final project I want it pointing to the right. Peel the back of the steam seam off when you are done cutting and iron it onto your felt in the place that you want it, making sure that your iron is not too hot or as it will melt your felt. The next step, which is not shown here, is satin stitching or zigzag stitching all around the edges of your arrow of light. I personally like the satin stitch look better because it looks more professional and it helps the arrow of light really pop off the dark background. Step 8, which is also not shown, is sewing on the troop number, the den number, and the Webelos patches above the arrow of light. And I also placed the Webelos colors with all my son's pins that he earned in that top space in the middle that's blank. I did not sew these patches on by hand, I did them by machine. I needed something really sturdy to hold my belt loops on, as you see me working on here. So I used a 2-inch wide grosgrain ribbon, folded it in half lengthwise to make it 1 inch wide, and I sewed down the length of it. This gave me a pretty sturdy anchor for my belt loops. Next, I cut 1-inch slits the length of the belt loops to pull the ends of the ribbon through to the back side and pinned on both sides. Next, I satin stitched on either side of the belt loops to secure the ribbon to the felt banner and to close the holes. Finally, you must secure the belt loops by hand sewing a stitch in between each belt loop to prevent any sagging when hung up. Step 10. Sew on any additional patches. The last step is tying the leather string or shoelace using square knots on either side of the middle tab for hanging and to keep the banner centered on the arrow. I hope this inspired you to do something similar. My son really cherishes this award and I know yours will too. Thanks for watching. For more great projects, come on back to Threadhead TV.